Good morning, everyone. I hope all is well on today. Everybody's highly blessed. What's going on, Reggie Whitley? What you got going on
Hi.
today?
So excited that you're excited. I was not expecting such a warm good morning.
Yeah, warm, because it's cold outside. So we got to set the atmosphere in the inside. It's cold. Hit it.
Don't get me started on that because you know I need to be in somebody's studio. I think I got a little voice, building up in me.
Okay,
I need
build it up
my
then,
Grammy.
brother.
Is that what
Build
you
it
get
up.
when you sing?
Everybody else getting a Grammy. Why you can't get a Grammy?
Because I'm gonna be an EGOT.
Okay, come on now.
Just to be able to say I got an EGOT. For those of you who don't know, EGOT is when you get the Emmy, the Grammy, the
Grammy,
Oscar, and the
Oscars,
Tony.
and
So that means the
yes.
man, I need to be on somebody's stage play so I can get my Tony. Um, Send me to Broadway. Okay, I ain't talking about no Tyler Perry stage play. I ain't never seen him get a Tony for the Tyler Perry stage play.
So
Madea
maybe you
never
need to
got a Tony.
contact Oprah.
I'm not talking to her. Don't start. Don't start. She killed them people in Hawaii allegedly.
Okay. Let's move on. So
Please.
instead of talking about, yeah, I'm finna hurry up because we need to take it back to the first and second season, with you and Oprah. Okay, but anyway, today, lovely people, I have a conversation. And Reggie, we finna talk about something I can't wait for you to do. Fall in love.
No,
Sure.
you don't. First of all, you don't know if the man got in love or not. I could pop up
I
married
mean,
any day.
love.
Let's just
I
be
know you
honest.
love
I
Jesus,
could be like
God.
Issa Rae. Issa Rae, you
If
didn't
you,
even know she was in a relationship, and she just popped up with her wedding picture. You never know.
yeah, okay, now. So I know everybody in the blog have been looking at. I mean, seeing the blog, seeing on social media. One of my favorites couple back in the day, and they are actually back my favorite couple. Nelly and Ashanti. Ashanti. Let me take that back because her mama is her manager. And somebody said Shantae and she got them on together. It's Ashanti. Okay. So Nelly and Ashanti has been separated for over 10 years. And lately they have rekindled their love. And Nelly was actually on it was a lot going on, a lot of speculations at first because of how they ended up getting back together. But that's neither here nor there. But I
No,
did
it's
want,
there because I'm curious.
yeah, we're
How
gonna
did they get
discuss
back
today.
together?
We're gonna discuss all that. But they ended up Fat Joe. Have you ever heard of the verses?
Oh
When
yeah.
okay, so it was Ja Rule and Fat Joe,
For those
and
of
I
you who
for
don't know what versus is, versus is when they get the two artists like Stephanie Mills and Shaka Khan, or my favorite,
yeah,
John Legend and Alicia Keys,
it's
to
the
get
keys.
together. Sing, what was those people name? I know Patti LaBelle, but who was she with? I think it was Patti LaBelle and Gladys Knight. I think was who she was with. Two artists who come together and they do their greatest hits, going back and forth, and that's what the verses is, guys. So you know.
Yes. And so it was actually Ja Rule and Fat Joe. I forgot who else was included on there. So but anyway, Ashanti was there. And Ashanti did not know after 6 years, I think she said she hadn't seen him. So after 6 years, just know this is somebody. And when Ashanti and Nelly was together years ago, they was together 10 years. So just think of being with somebody for 10 years, separated, not seeing each other for almost across the path from each other for almost 6 years, and then bam, y'all end up at a versus together. Awkward. And so Nelly ended up going to say something, went across the stage and went and gave Ashanti a hug. But he also, people were saying he whispered some in her ear. But in another interview that she did, she said that he didn't say anything. But after, I don't believe it. He had to say something to get back in. Good gracious. If you haven't said nothing in 6 years, ain't no ex of mine's gonna come back to me and say nothing in 6 years and then bam, bam, we back together. No, that ain't gonna happen. So Ashanti, we gonna let you have that moment. But anyway, so Reg, I have a video I would love for you to watch. It's really Nelly coming out saying about the relationship. He was on Kirk and Rashida Frost show, Boss Lady. And they actually brought the conversation back up because for the longest, they hadn't said nothing to anybody. So if you would so graciously just watch this clip right quick and tell me your thoughts on what he says.
So you and Ashanti are back together.
No warm up, no song.
No, nothing. You know, we get straight to it.
This
Straight
is
to
what
it.
it is. Okay. No.
Yeah, look at that smile. You see that smile? Look at that. Look at your face. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we cool again.
Y'all cool again?
We cool again. I think it surprised both of us, though. It wasn't anything that was like, I don't think planned. I think we both was pretty much doing what we do. But sometimes being separate, you understand one another more. You could be like, well, yo, let me exactly see maybe what they see.
Right.
You know, because, you know, we all can be defensive sometimes in our own relationships. And we know we wrong, but we going to stand on it.
Right,
you know
right.
what I mean?
Exactly, exactly.
But we all a victim to that.
Is it feel good now?
Yeah, I mean, because it's no pressure.
Okay.
You know, before I felt like both of us are doing what we're doing career-wise.
Right.
And when you got so many people in the middle of it,
Yes.
it can be tough.
But that's your maturity. That's matureness. Being apart, you get to see flaws and see things different ways.
Yeah.
And I think the maturity kicked in to allow what you probably missed because that's a dope way to look at things. I've never got to be away from a relationship too long and then come back.
You know what I think? But I think y'all's relationship is different because y'all had a chance to understand one another growing up. He had a chance to grow together. That's like two ways of being in a relationship. Like my grandfather and my grandmother, they were together for 61 years.
Oh, that's beautiful.
They died being together.
That's
and then my mother and my father, they weren't together for 5 years before they got divorced. And my mama swore she would never get married again. So I tell everybody, I know marriage two ways.
Okay.
Either you all in
or you all out.
Nah.
I feel you on that.
You already know. Okay, so with this whole marriage conversation we've been having, what is your outlook on marriage? Do you think you would get married?
I think for me, because I've never been married, my goal is to die married. It's not to have been married. You see what I'm saying? Like, when I make that oath, I'm tell you, death do us part.
Death do us part for real. Yes. I love it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's for real. But I think the goal is to leave this earth knowing that you had somebody that loved you and that was with you.
I am not mad at that. Okay.
I hope so.
That was pretty interesting.
So what did you think about it though? I mean, because this is the thing. This is the thing for me. First off, you're looking at two people that are well-known R&B singers. Right, he's a country, and he got his own liquor called Moonshine now.
Which one is this? Which person?
Nelly. This is Nelly. And he also has kids, but the kids are older. They was before Ashanti. And then he also, she don't have any kids. And so you go from 10 years, not speaking to each other, not even 10 years together, 10 years off. That's crazy. That's almost a decade. That's a long time. And then you get back together. One of the main things I love about when he was speaking on it, and Rashida and Kirk, when Kirk said, it was early on. And so it's actually like they came out in the same sense young. They was like young. And they both had good careers at the time. Because when he came out. My Air Force Ones. You
Oh,
heard of
that's
the
him.
song? That's him.
Okay.
So, like I say, and then Ashanti, she's been out there, amazing voice. Love Ashanti. So it's like y'all growing up together, both of y'all musicians. So you have to, the stereotype when you dating a musician, and both of them being who they were at the time. I'm quite sure they went through a lot of hiccups and stuff like that being young. But to stay together for 10 years, being that young, that has a lot to do with it because most people can't even do that now. But and not be married. And so that was another thing for me. They that young, not being married. And I mean, just think about it. I mean, like he said, it's like Kirk said, y'all basically grew up together. And to separate and get back together, like that's so wonderful. And I haven't seen them smile. So seen a couple. Ooh, some of the pictures that you see online, it's like, oh my God, they are just gorgeous. But how do you feel about the interview?
Very interesting what I just watched, the little part that I saw. Interesting. I mean, a part of me looks at them as have being young, and a part of me looks at them as like they weren't really that young. Like I thought that they were, like 19, something like that. But Ashanti at the time was 23. Nelly was 29 when they first started dating. They dated for 10 years, 33 and 39. And here they are now, 43 and 49. And very interesting to me. Very interesting. One of the things that I do like that he said that he wants to see, first of all, I like that he says that he's seen marriage two ways. The
Mm-hmm.
marriage way, they're just going to stay together, they're going to live together, grow together, die together. And then the marriage of together just a few years, divorced and done. So that is very interesting. And I just love that he says that he sees himself not getting married, but dying married. A lot of people have
Yeah.
that goal of they want to get married, they want the wedding, they want to get married, they want the wedding. And they don't really look at the other side of when the person you marry, you should have to live with. I appreciate that he saw somebody, his grandparents, who took their vows and took their covenant seriously,
Mm-hmm.
whereas most people just don't. Most people just give up. Most people are ready to just throw in the towel at the drop of a hat. Some don't want to work for it. Some don't want to fight for it. And that's me. I've never been married, but I appreciate that we have had him to say, he saw somebody who did appreciate, who did honor their commitment to one another, and that he took on that, not the not what his parents went through, not his parents being married for a little while and getting divorced. He
Mm-hmm.
took on what his grandparents did, and he had his grandparents to see as a role model, and that's who he wants to be. And hopefully he can be that with the Shanti. I'm interested to see um where this goes and all of that. And I do appreciate also, it made me think some people like to grow together and some people don't grow together. For him and Ashanti, they can't really say they grew together, although they grew some when they were together 10 years. That's
Yeah.
not like that. That's a big accomplishment. But they when they separated is when I think when they really grew,
Mm-hmm.
um probably grew more as people, as individuals. They grew more in a lot of ways in business. They grew more in fame, notoriety, finances, and so now they are back together having been grown. They've done a lot of work on themselves, I imagine, in those 10 years that they've been separated, and here they are to give it another shot, so I appreciate it.
Yeah. And see, one of the things that gets me when you, this day and age, I feel like there's so much of maturity within them, because I don't know if some people, because he was literally in a long-term relationship with another lady. Uh, and they actually had a show together. Nelly had his own show, and the woman was on the show. And so for her to get back with him after everything and one thing about Ashanti is she's very private. You don't see her on social media or anything. I don't even know who she dated while they were separated. And that's how low key she is. She don't bring, she just never did within those 10 years. I literally can't even think of a person name or even a face that she has dated, because of how private she is. And so for him, and having a whole television show with another woman on the show, I just think about how some of these people now in these new ages, they would never. I mean, I think that it's a great sign for Ashanti to have that maturity, to get back with him after all that, because some people ain't mature like that. Oh, you had a hold on to, I can't get back with you or whatever. So for me, it's like, how do you really feel about love the second go around? Can you heal and let go of what happened within those 10 years? Or is it, and the love be that strong where you're not even fixated or fascinated, or don't even let it apply what happens during the breakup? Because some people can't do that. Some people, these people nowadays, they want to bring up everything but the right thing. And so, I mean, how do you feel about that as a whole? Getting back with somebody after you know how far they didn't accomplish with that person, the things that they accomplished with that person, and to get back with somebody you was with 10 years ago. And not only that, she's pregnant now per social media, um, with her first child.
So I think it depends. I think it depends on how the breakup happened. You know, one of the things that I've realized is that Ashanti came at a year after their breakup, so it had to be in 2014. They broke up in 2013. So she came out a year after their breakup, and she did say that despite the rumors, there was no beef between
Yeah.
her and Nelly. So if it was like a mutual agreement to separate, which does happen a lot. Unfortunately, we don't see it a lot because that's not what sells. What
Mm.
sells is the drama in a breakup. But apparently, it was like a mutual thing. If there was no beef, if there was no, there had to be forgiveness. There, it couldn't have been so much of a toxic relationship. I assume if there was no beef, unless Ashanti's just a fool. But I assume that there was just not a lot of uh, um, toxicity in the relationship. And so it depends on how and why the breakup took place. So being that she came out a year later. And let's just be honest, when we look at media, when we look at, just people in general, let's just be clear, but especially looking at, celebrities and stuff, it's normally the woman who comes out and airs out all the dirty laundry. It's normally the woman who comes out and seems to be very upset. He did this, he did that to me. That ain't the one, throwing shade. Not always, but normally and statistically, it is the woman. So for the woman in the situation to come out and say, no beef here, it says a whole lot um, about their breakup. So it also says a lot that he was asked very soon after they get back together about marriage, and he had a good answer. He didn't say that he was going to marry her, but he did at least have a good answer. Whereas in 2010, he did say publicly that he was not ready to marry Ashanti. But remember, they had been together since 2003, 7 years. And he's still saying he's not ready to marry her. And not only did he say it publicly, but here they're back together, more mature. And he had a good, again, he did not verbatim say he was going to marry her, but he did let it be known that he wants to die married when the conversation came up about him marrying Ashanti. So I think that it just goes to show how much maturity there was even in the breakup, because
Mm-hmm.
nobody bashed each other, nobody
Mm-hmm.
put out a diss track, they didn't start writing.
Mm-hmm.
Adele go through a break. I like Adele, except for she be having Crystal, so I don't really too much listen to her no more. When I found that out. So but Adele go through a breakup, and she put out a whole album. People are asking her after her divorce, what is her next album going to be about? She divorce, babe, divorce. Because she's about to sing about her
A
breakup. If
divorce.
her and this guy here don't work out, her next album is going to be a break. It's going to be a sad. She will let you know she has sad music because she writes about her life. These two didn't come out with anything um, that I know that I can recall. Anything about like a diss track, anything about one another. So it goes to show the maturity level then, and it goes to show his maturity level now when being asked about it. So I would say when comparing it to people now, because you did say that, this new age, or not new agers, but people this generation, whatever. I don't know if I agree. I would say it depends on how the breakup took place, because not everyone breaks up again. You don't hear much of it because that's not what is there to say? Hey,
Mm-hmm.
we broke up, and then you come to me and say, "Girl, what y'all break?" You don't want to say that to me because I ain't calling me no
Yeah.
girl, but I get in character. So you go to the woman, "Girl, what y'all break up for?" "Oh, we just decided to, now wasn't the right time to date." The conversation ends unless
Yeah.
the person is like tries to egg it up. He did something. No, he didn't. Like we just came to that ends right there. Whereas, he cheated on me, he was abusive, he tried to keep
Mm-hmm.
me from, that kind of stuff sells more. So because it's unfortunate that we hear about the horrible breakups, the toxic relationships so much that that's what we look at. But really and truly, there are so many relationships that are not that are just quietly, it's just a quiet split. And those are the people who I believe are more likely to get back together and have a good relationship. Because let's be honest, people still get back into relationships with people who they had bad relationships with. Because,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the times it's because they're foolish. I can list off a number of people with you. Like, why did you keep going back, you nut? Um, but this isn't the your nut kind of case, and you do have some people who can get back together, and I think you can make it work. Let's be careful though, before I hit it back over to Chantel. Let's be careful not to make Ashanti and Nelly the new celebrity goals couple. We dealt with that with Will and Jada. You see how it worked out. Let's not do that again, guys. I'm
Oh
not
my
saying that these
goodness.
are like Will and
Oh,
Jada,
I should
but
have
let's
known
not
he was
make these
coming.
people goals. Let's, you take a little bit of what they got and be like, oh, okay, but this is not a sign for some of y'all to go back to your ex. This is not a sign to give it another
Right.
shot, because
Right.
some of you, let's just be clear. I'm scared for some people. You go back to them, you might not make it out alive. Let's just be honest.
Let's clear the air on that one, because you are so right. And it actually I'm gonna tell you this, it is so funny because I usually don't listen to the radio. But I don't know if my husband, he loves R&B and stuff like that. My kids do too. I let them listen to certain things. But it was one particular song that I ended up listening to the other day. And as me and my husband was driving, we had like a little mini date.
No.
Yeah. Lunch date. And even though it didn't pertain to us, or when I say this, I love the song. It's with Usher, 21 Savage, and Summer Walker. And it's called Good Good. Some of y'all need to listen to that. Maybe y'all, the ones that's going that don't understand, sometimes a breakup don't have to be knives and killing and shooting and You know what I'm saying? Toxic, like he says. And he says in a song, and I'm looking to the side because I actually pulled up the lyrics. We ain't good, but we still good. And I was like, that's so mature. That's literally a mature song. And it says he hate that they didn't make it to forever. Probably ain't getting back together. But that don't mean he don't wish you better. And we ain't good, but we still good. And a lot of people need to understand that it don't have to be bad. And you don't have to tell everybody. Can you be friends with an ex? Reggie, can you be friends with an ex?
Me, no. So I remember saying that.
I'm gonna tell y'all. Hold on. It is. You know how some you want to say something, you bring up something, and somebody just bust you out like real quick. Look, it's like he was. Did you feel me for to ask that question?
I didn't actually. I didn't know where you were
Because
about to
it's
go
just,
with it.
it's like you just bam, no. Okay, Reggie, elaborate.
But I remember a pastor, and I'll be trying to have people identity, and I don't want to say too much.
Mm-hmm.
I remember
unless they got crystals.
and I'm gonna just go ahead and unless they didn't like the match, but they was probably somewhere behind that Hawaii fire that we haven't heard about in a long time.
Oh,
that's a whole nother podcast, guys. I got a lot to say about what's going on in Hawaii. Keep your eyes on Hawaii. Too much going on with Mark Zuckerberg, Oprah, all these people, Larry Ellison, who owns 98% of that island of Hawaii. So much going on there, guys. It's horrible what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing. I'm asking the Lord to reveal it. So it reminds me of this pastor, though, who had gotten divorced. She had been through a few of them. And she, her latest divorce.
Can you just say not say don't say past. Just don't say
please,
past. You got to put the past out there and say, remember she been
I
through a
didn't
few
say
of them.
who it was.
I mean, I know it's just the pastor part for me. You just saying, and she'd have been through a few of them. Like, come on now.
I can give you the number if you like. I can go through all the names if you like.
No, I don't. Leave the woman of God alone. Let her
and
make
I love her. Don't get me wrong. I love her.
That baby says she be tired. You got one move, and she
got one move. It's getting late in the hour, and I ain't with this mess. I can do bad by myself. Okay.
This brings up another question, though. That's a whole different podcast.
We'll ask it right after I finish her story.
Okay.
So she, I remember with the last one, she did say that they were. I mean, he would still come and visit the church. He was still celebrating all that stuff. But she did end up saying that they are better as friends. She did say that they realized that they are better as friends than as a married couple just because of how they were, personality wise, things like that. It would just work out a whole lot better if they were friends and they remain friends. I don't know if they still are, now or not, but they remained friends for years. He would still show up, to the church. And it wasn't a large church where he could just blend into the crowd. Everyone knew that he was there and he would be fully welcome. So, some people not only can they remain friends with their ex, but they can they'll be better off as friends with who they're dating because of personality traits and things like that. Some people have good hearts. Some people have, there are certain people I've even heard and I've experienced it too. You see certain people, you're like, wow, that's a really good person. I couldn't put up with them, as more than a friend, but they will make for a wonderful spouse for somebody. But just not for me though. So those kinds of people, I think when you have that, a lot of the time you see that in hindsight, you will see, oh, we were supposed to just remain friends. Sometimes you can be such good friends with a person, you click so well, you think you should go to the next level. And I think some people, they end up doing that because they're like, wow, we're really clicking. No, that's just like a best friend. You shouldn't go to date.
Yeah.
And then when you start dating, you see, I say that because a lot of the times we see people change once a title gets involved that it's more than a friend. And so when that change happens, you didn't expect it. You thought you were just going to get your friend. So for those people, sometimes it can be to a point where they can go ahead and end it real quick. So we can just keep that friendship level. You know, we're going to end it before something happens. We're going to end because this is not, you are not still my friend who I thought you were. You have become another person now that I've started to date you. And so those kind of people, I can say they can remain friends with exes. And some people just need to go ahead and let their ex go completely. You know, just forget they even existed. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, just coffin that thing. Cremate it. Let it burn. Ain't
Let it burn
Usher
and
song,
flush it down the
but you
toilet.
know what? Usher is something else with itself. So first you have a song called "Let It Burn," and now you talking about you good. He's something else.
You forgot about there's always that one person that will always have my heart. You never see it coming, but it's coming from the stars. See, you're the one for me, and clearly everyone can see my baby with Alicia Keys. And I ain't look up no lyrics. I like the song just that much. I remember when the song came out. I was a good maybe I don't know 5, 6, 8 years old. I was rooting for their relationship. I was devastated when they broke. Cause how you put out a song called My Boo, and then y'all turned around and broke up.
You got a lot of that though going on. You have a lot. They said my girl, Cardi B, was in the house crying. And that's neither here nor there.
We're not gonna talk about Cardi. You know, last time they went through a breakup, she cut us out on the internet and told us to get out of her business. So we're not gonna talk about Cardi and her little relationship with Offset, who done set it off with
Said
another
it.
woman.
Maybe he tired. That
I
goes
feel like
back
she's a
to
pretty good wife though, but that's
I do
outside
too, but
looking
you know,
in.
yeah, but you know, some people just can't.
Appreciate it.
Mm. So I wonder, is that the situation too? And you know, okay, so we got that conversation down, but it's one thing that always holds me when you talking about these relationships as well. It's a time frame for me. So you got 10 years, and y'all know I'm big on these time frames. 10 years. So Ashanti gave him 10 years. Nelly gave Ashanti 10 years, no marriage. 10 years of you playing wife and you being girlfriend dedicated. So for me, it's like now that it's the maturity has clicked in. And a lot of people say it takes longer, but how do you feel about the whole marriage situation? Because clearly, do you think that he's mature enough to know now, even though you discussed, you know, the interview here and there, and said your piece on it about the marriage being a conversation piece. Now he's not saying the same thing, but should it take that long for him to say it's time? Them to get together and be like, okay, let's not play these games. If I'm gonna come back to you that long, it should take another 10 years for y'all to get married, especially when y'all got a baby on the way.
Allegedly.
Cause people do say that. Oh, it takes longer. Bull crap. It don't take longer, you know.
Yeah, so you know, I'm a preacher first. So while you were talking, I was thinking, oh, so were those 10 years wasted? I don't think they were wasted. You know, could have been, thank God she's still, you know, childbearing age and could allegedly still have a baby on the way.
I just
So I
say she
wouldn't
got
say that they
well
were,
no. Never mind.
I wouldn't say that they were wasted. 'Cause, you know, we didn't see some out here 80 years old, you know, pushing them out. So wouldn't say they were wasted. And when it comes to now, even with that, it takes men longer. Yeah, I think that that's a load of bull as well. I don't agree with it, but you know, the preacher in me goes to scripture and it goes to Genesis. As a matter of fact, Genesis 2:22, and the KJV does say that when God created Eve, He brought Eve to Adam. But some versions say, and even if you look at the Hebrew definition of brought, one of the definitions says presented. And so God literally presented Eve to Adam.
Mm.
So, you know, scripture does say, he who findeth a wife findeth a good thing it's not just that the man has to find the wife. The man could already, and I didn't get this revelation on my own. I got this from a woman of God on YouTube who ironically, I know her actually, but I saw it on YouTube. I just saw it just the other day, and it goes so well with this. I had no clue that this is going to go with this. So I'm not taking credit for no prophetic plagiarism over this way, like some of y'all be doing. But when a man finds a wife, find a good thing, but a man doesn't just find his wife. Some men have already seen his wife, but God has to actually present her as his wife, just as God presented Eve to Adam. So could it be that God didn't present Ashanti to Nelly as his wife between 2003 and 2013? And it could be that God probably tried to present, but because of where Nelly was in his life, out here in the streets, don't know if he was or not, but just, in my mind, allegedly being who he is, not even who he is, but being in the industry that he's in. Perhaps out here in these streets, trying to do everything but the right thing, got his woman at the house and some else on the side. So maybe God did do the presentation, but it just didn't take like a bad perm. So now all this time later, maybe God has, I'm gonna give you another chance. I'll represent this woman to you. And here we
in
have
another perm style.
In another perm, the perm took this time because Nelly's like, okay, got it. So I would say that might be a possibility. So for some, you have the man who, you feel like that's supposed to be your husband. Doesn't really matter until he sees it, because he who findeth the wife, not the opposite way. So Ashanti could have known all along that's her husband. Didn't matter. Nelly had to know it. And Nelly probably didn't know it because he didn't accept the presentation of Ashanti as his wife. Now he's more mature. Now that he's in a place where he's ready to settle down, now that he's in a place where he's looking at his grandparents' marriage as an example. Who knows? His grandparents are probably alive at the time of their first relationship, and they're not alive now. Maybe that woke up something in him. Maybe age, being that he's 49, woke up something in him, or maybe just life in general. Some people do have it to where they feel like they have to reach a certain status, they have to reach a certain financial level, a certain credit score, a certain number of homes, a certain whatever before they get married. Whether that's godly or not, whether it's good or not, I don't know. I ain't here for it. Here to talk about it. But maybe that's what he was, where he was in his manner. He has reached that, so now he's ready. Now he's opened himself up to be presented with his wife. Just thank goodness if that is the case. Thank God that he got a second chance, first of all, because let's be honest, I'm not one who believes that if God is saying Nelly and Ashanti are husband and wife, and Nelly doesn't accept it, and Nelly keeps going on and on, I don't think God's gonna make Ashanti wait. The Ashantis of the world. I don't think he's gonna make them all wait for Nelly to get himself together. Thank God that for Nelly's sake that he got a second chance, assuming here, got a second chance at the one that he should have been with all along. And hopefully he does fully see that and he accepted that presentation, and they go happily ever after.
Yeah, I hope so. So, yeah, I just want y'all to know I had to talk about it today because I love them too. I and they look so happy. I hadn't seen Nelly smile on some pictures, social media wise, like he's showing. How many teeth you supposed to have in your mouth? However many, it's like he got it all. I'm not for sure, but he shows it all. I mean, they just like, and Asante things like that girlfriend that like having water balloon fights in the house. She just seemed fun. Like she don't seem like the one that carries pressure. Like she know how to move on, let go and let God. I'm gonna say that. So, but anyway, Ashanti and Nelly, we wish you the best. Thank y'all for watching our podcast about y'all. I'm manifesting this thing. Did you hear me? Once again, I'm Chantel. That's Reggie. We just love y'all. So thank y'all for tuning in. Reggie, you got any last things to say? Anything you want to help other people with that's not Nelly and Ashanti? Oh, y'all don't go back to y'all ex if God ain't told y'all to, by the way. I'm just saying. I'll put that out there.
I'm thinking it could have been a good relationship. You shouldn't go back to some people. Excited to be invited to your wedding, Nelly and Ashanti.
Thank you.
Very excited. I will, I'm not a dresser-upper, so I hope that you accommodate me in some way. Or I might decide to put it on just because we're at the Nelly and Ashanti wedding. Don't sit me at the table with it. Matter of fact, let me know what table you're going to sit me at, okay? Because I don't be want to sit with just know anybody.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you so much for that accommodation. For the rest of you guys, I would just say go to God. Men don't. First of all, stop saying that it takes men longer. For those of you who say, especially you women who are still believing God for your spouse, because the more you say that, you are speaking it into existence, and it will take your husband longer to decide. People, don't be fools. I'm not saying that Ashanti was a fool. Don't be fools waiting on a man to get himself together, or it can be the opposite. I have seen it where the woman is the one that holds off the wedding and waiting and waiting and waiting. But let's just be honest, them two that I'm thinking of don't need to be together no way. But don't be no fool to sit there and wait and wait and wait, hoping you can change his mind, hoping you can change her mind. Let me show him what he's gonna get when he gets me as a wife. Let me show her what I mean. Why have what is it? Why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? I hate that phrase, but that is that.
That's true.
And I would just say go to God. A lot of you think that you're just so in love. Maybe you're in lust though, but some of you have fallen in love with the wrong person. I would say go to God, see if this is your spouse before you walk up the aisle. I have known people who I know of a lady, a very famous preacher who back in the day before we were born, matter of fact, she died in 1976. But I remember that she was just famous. She was a big deal. She got married, and I think she only stayed married for like a day. The conviction of the Lord fell upon her heavily, and before anything even happened with that man, she left. She fled, and she got an annulment, I think is what it's called, because she was so enamored with this man and enamored with the thought of being married. She ignored God's will, and boy, did she go through it just because of that. So I would just say, make sure you're hearing from God, not from your flesh, not from your feelings or emotions, or not even just from wanting to be married. A lot of people want a wedding so bad. A lot of people want to be married so bad that they'll get whatever is crawling and slithering along the floor, swoop it up and make it their spouse. Guys, don't be that fool. Because your goal should be like Nelly's grandparents. Like Nelly said, to die married, not to get married just for a little while and then get your divorce, not to even get married for a long time and get your divorce, but to die married. Take your vows seriously, guys. You're coming into covenant. So because that is a covenant, I think you should, take a little time to make sure that that's your spouse. Because they could be a good man somewhere, but they could just not be a good man for you. And if that man is good and God said that's not yours, he's going to give you even better. You might not even be able to think that it can get any better than that, but I'm sure he'll do it. That's all I have to say to the people. Just keep believing God for your spouse, guys. Do the right thing, DTRT, do the right thing. And, hopefully, prayerfully, you marry the right one, and just don't start looking at Nelly and Ashanti as gold, or Nelly and Ashanti as a sign to go backwards. Some of you shouldn't go backwards. You might not be able to go back forward if you go backwards. That's for somebody out there. Amen.
Amen. All right, you guys. Thank you, Reg. Have a good week.
And Merry Christmas, because Christmas is going to be before you see us again. Happy holidays for you non-Christmasers. That's why I never say that. Bye.